All right, guys, here we are to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 3, Episode 11.
What's up? So we just we're just coming off of like an iconic episode that most people remember.
I had no memory of this episode.
Now we're on an episode I don't think anybody would like remember. We're back in the Civil War. There's a lot of these take place in the Civil War. I don't know why that was
such
a
side,
fresh take. Yeah.
We are seeing a soldier go into a town as a scout and sees that nobody is moving. They're all frozen in place. And he comes across a witch doctor-y type man who is the seventh son of the seventh son of a man.
That's a conjure thing.
And he cast a spell and he froze everybody. And he's saying how he could do this to the whole Yankee army, and he could get Robert Lee right up into the White House if he wanted to. But I'm going to die today. But I pass this on to you, this Union soldier. And it's an interesting take. And my first thought though is like, that man was very ballsy in his like, I gotta see how many there are, and he like went right into the town, parked his horse in the town, like all these things where I was like, all right, this man doesn't seem like he's a very good scout.
Well, yeah, he says he hasn't contributed much yet, and this is their chance. I don't know.
So he's like goes in, and then when he first comes across this frozen, asleep as he thought people, he like goes into a weird rant on wake up to kill me, presumably.
Well, it's a strange thing. I understand.
It is strange.
His reaction being like,
my first reaction though would be I'd be sabering motherfuckers left and right.
I imagine so. Yes.
Because like he said, he's like, they have food, we need food. They have guns, we need guns. I would kill them, and I would take that wagon.
Sure.
Like, I'd be like, all right, unstrap these dead horses, strap my good horse. We're going to slowly make off with this.
Living horse up there. Totally. I feel like that's realistic, but the episode had other things they wanted to do.
Of course. It only has 22 minutes, and they don't have the ability to slash every neck.
Yeah, with this devil worshipping thing.
Yeah,
so it's a very interesting angle to me.
It is an interesting angle. So to go further into the episode, the man goes back to his captain, and he says, I have this
he takes the book. He says, sure, and takes the book from the dying warlock.
Off screen, he casts a spell to the north or whatever, and he freezes a whole other regiment of people so that his people can corroborate his story.
Yeah, just so we can have the proof. Someone else rides in from somewhere else and says, all the Yanks is frozen, and all that stuff.
Exactly. And they come to this the agreement. All right, read from the book, freeze them all, and so he starts reading from the book, and like the first words.
So like the coward and his commanding officer are both like, yep, it's the only chance we have. We gotta do it or whatever.
So he's like, read the words, and the words are like, I accept the devil as my fucking teacher or whatever, and I cast out God from my life. He's like,
they want us to forsake God and serve Satan. And he burns the book instead.
But I guess he was reading a different spell than he read the first time. Because the first spell he read obviously didn't say anything like that.
It did. It said something about Prince of Darkness or something.
But it didn't say, I forsake God.
Exactly. But it totally implied that this was a Satan-y
thing. Oh, of course.
And the guy says, it's the devil or whatever.
Why not read the first spell again? Why not just freeze them all repeatedly?
I just have no idea.
And still win the war.
What part of the book that was meant to be.
I do like the moral judgment of if we are meant to die, we are meant to die, we will die with God in our hearts, and that's it. And they do lose.
We call them the damned Yanks, right? That's what we say. Well, if we read from this book, we'll be damned. Yeah. Yeah. I liked the old guy in this. I liked his stupid things or whatever.
Yeah.
So I like this because... And often with evidence or good reason, whenever the winners of historical events and wars look back, the losers are like the bad guys are always the Nazi occult stuff, or if you keep going back, there's always this little twinge of they used to sacrifice people to their gods and they were heathens and they were dark and whatever. And we had this neat little thing here where it gets twisted around, where in this
where they would have won had they been the savages.
Yeah, and because we're all still Americans, right? We can start off painting it the Confederates were actually evil warlock people, but they chose better, and then that's how history took the turn.
They chose to in God we trust, and he was American currency.
Yeah. And a chicken in every pot, right? So it's corny, but I kind of like it. It's kind of this interesting thing, and I like anytime that the Twilight Zone ends, because he says and then they headed north to Gettysburg, and you're okay, great, exactly. So there's no I like when the Twilight Zone has an alternate history that you can cinch up and match to the history books and be like, that's fine, nothing's different about the world or whatever.
Things that bother me. So if I was the colonel of that little regiment with the man with the book, I'd be like, no, Charles. You'll forsake God. We'll just win the war.
We'll be fine. Sure, yeah.
This is you speaking the words, not us.
It's all on you, buddy.
And you've already cast a spell. You're going to hell.
Yeah. You already tried it.
Honestly, you might as well.
You already sampled the devil's nectar.
Yeah.
You're already done. Sure.
I wonder what he would have said, though, had I been there to spin that yarn for him.
No, I think if you extend this to, like, a whole movie, it's like the old guy tied to a chair and then being like, you have to say it. Yeah, like you have to pass on the book to me. You have to. And he's like, I won't do it. It's not right. And they do this whole, like thing where, like, people want the thing or whatever. Because that whole thing of, like, setting up the other guy being a coward is this awesome thing of, like, well, the coward wants to do this. I thought that the guy was almost going to say, well, if you're down with this plan, I know it's not a good plan because you suck.
I pictured it being a bigger twist with the devil being his little coward partner was actually the devil.
Was the devil? I led you to that book. That's why you got the book. Read my words. No, so there was a great line earlier when he's talking to that coward where he says, "I withdraw my sympathy and offer the back of my hand."
Yeah,
I was like, it's so great. Because that was a great little interaction.
Your
where the guy's
yellow
like,
cowardice is spreading upon my functions.
When it eats at you alone, that's your business. But when it spreads, when it begins to devour my, some of the poetic old talk that some of these things have,
It's wonderful.
is so good. And like I would just be writing down like half the lines in the episode sometimes when they have these awesome people. They give little soliloquies and speeches and stuff like that about like. It's that thing with the cowboy from the past that I love so much when he's like, oh, sure, morals mean a lot to you when you're warm in bed with your full belly. What about me? What about the coldness? And he starts talking all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. So this had some of that good business or whatever.
No, it's true. But yeah, the best line was that.
I withdraw my sympathy. Because he just slaps him. He's like, get those words out of your mouth, boy. I'm going to do the right thing. You can stay here if you want. Or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, girl. This is great.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I guess I enjoyed this. I was kind of fine with it. This isn't like a top episode for me.
No, I like the episode.
Fine.
Of course, the only thing it really suffers from is that it's old and they couldn't do a good stop thing. So you have a lot of scenes where it's just like a freeze frame and nothing's happening. And one early on when they're like, the town over there, and it's just a single frame.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
why'd they even cut to that? They could have just not shown that. That
was
bad.
crazy bad.
But I guess at the time that wasn't even considered bad. They were probably just like, there's moving pictures. Like
no, but it was. I remember that shot and it was crazy bad, and I was like, oh no.
Then there was a couple of like when people are frozen, it's them this or the other scene where it's not a person frozen and it's them like moving ever so slightly.
Exactly. No, like I just did a little like swaying while you were talking because there was a scene where one guy blinked in like the foreground, so I think the camera moves and he thinks, okay, I'm not in the shot anymore, and then he lets himself blink, and I caught it and I was like, screw you. Extra.
And then there's the flip side of like when he uses the spell on the Union soldier and like he's like, now blink if you understand.
Confederate soldier.
Confederate soldier. I'm sorry. Confederate soldier. He's like blink if you understand. He's like, and I'm like, what?
Well, he throws in a line like, I know you can still hear me.
Yeah.
I only did half of it. Or whatever. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But that was like a trippy thing where like the Twilight Zone doesn't even always use those angles. So to cut to his tight face even made me go like, oh, we're doing something different here. Like we're going that extra mile because usually it's all wides and mediums and like whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So it was cool even to have that shot. And I thought it like looked good, but yeah, the whole thing of the magic and the spells and the whole thing, and why is there this hillbilly Merlin hanging out in this town who could have ended the war? Like the war's been going on; it's about to be Gettysburg. That didn't happen day one. That happened later on, right?
Well, that was the first time they came into his town.
Oh, okay.
I live down by the river, and I've taken over this town and something. But yeah, it was a.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the episode. I would say this is one of the better ones for me.
Yeah, I'm thumbsing it, upping it, rating it, voting it, whatever.
All right, guys, so that's our thoughts on this episode of Twilight Zone. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.